Hi, I'm David. I'm here to talk to you about cryptocurrency price analysis for Thursday, January 17th, 2019. We'll be talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and Binance Coin. Also, we're going to take some time at the end to talk about Bitcoin's dominance in the market, historically where it's been and where it might be going. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get right to it. All right, here we start on Bitcoin on the daily. First off, I don't know of any news that's really moving the market right now. Doesn't seem to be any. We can look at CoinMarketCap and see that the market cap's just below 64 billion and the price is averaging about 36.50. Though here on Coinbase, we're a little closer to 3600, 3611 as I speak. First thing I notice here is that we got this descending 50-day moving average. We've been kind of riding below that all week. Haven't been able to get above it. Let's see, going to the 4-hour, we can see that we also have a descending 50 moving average. And what's basically happening here, and you're going to see this reflected on the 1-hour as well, is there's these descending 50 moving averages, and it's creating kind of a channel between the 3600 psychological and the descending averages. On the 1-hour, you can see that it's actually, we recently tested and held above the 100-hour, which is a good bull sign. But yeah, so my point is all these moving averages are descending. I believe in the coming hours it's going to force Bitcoin's price to make a decision, basically. Either we're going to break down with the pressure coming from above, or we're going to break through each of these moving averages, and it's going to give us a lot of upside momentum. So if it goes down, we're probably looking at first and foremost about 35.75. I say that mainly because if you zoom out all week since last week's dip, that's proven to be a pretty decent bottom for a lot of the movement. There is this anomaly in the middle here, but we're going to treat it as an anomaly for the time being. So that'd be the first level I'd say to watch out for if we dip. If we break through that, then yeah, we're probably looking at the recent lows of around 3,500 psychological. If we break up, there's not a ton of support or resistance above us just because of the recent action, but 3,700 is probably a realistic one to look at just because that's the next psychological. And right now at the levels we're at, every $100 or so does seem to have a lot of effect on the market. That seems to be the levels that people are looking at, the psychological levels. So in the bigger picture, we're probably going to stay in a channel along these lines for a little while, but I'd say your immediate levels you're looking at are downside 35.75, upside 3,700. All right, and now we're on to Ethereum, here again on the daily. Before we get going, there's obviously the big news with Ethereum right now is the upcoming Constantinople fork, which was delayed due to security issues. Last week I laid out some scenarios for what could happen post-fork, but I don't think I really explored the possibility of a delay. That being said, it didn't hurt the price too much. There was a bit of a dip. You can kind of see it there. It kind of emanated through the market, but it didn't hurt anything too much. So actually looking at the CoinMarketCap, you can see we're still just under 13 billion and we're averaging about 123, though on Coinbase about 122. Now you can see, unlike Bitcoin, we actually have held above our 50-day moving average, which has created our own little channel kind of between that and about 125 psychological. Now let's zoom in to the 1-hour. You can see we're actually kind of testing and riding just below the 100-hour moving average. But what has me even a little more concerned is the 50-hour, which we haven't been able to get above either over a longer period of time. This could provide some downside pressure. This could see us dropping down to lower levels. If we're able to get through the upside scenario, we're probably looking to retest 125 if we can punch through both of these. If we're really lucky, maybe even up as high as 130. Like Bitcoin, psychological levels are still playing a really big role here, but now it's like $5 or $10 increments because this is a lower cap coin. If we do go down, then we're probably, if we get rejected off of these, we're probably looking at, there's the 120 psychological, which we were recently at, and then there's the recent downside action all the way as low as between like 114, 116. And that's probably the next levels we'd have to worry about if we start getting pushed down. That would be my guess. Not too much lower than that in the short term. All right, now we're looking at Cardano, which to my knowledge is not really responding to any news of its own, but does seem to be responding well to the recent bad news about Ethereum. at least it's speculated that its positive growth in the last day or so has been because the negative news came out about the Constantinople fork, and Cardano is a direct competitor to Ethereum, so it stands to logic if people are getting insecure about Ethereum, they might be putting their money into this project. Looking at CoinMarketCap, you can see it is performing still better than a lot of the market right now. And we got a cap of just under 1.17 billion and an average price of about 4.5 cents. So you can see this one's not too telling. You can see we recently got rejected off about 4.63 cents. But let's zoom into the 4 hour for a little bit better view on that. So you can see we just recently had the 50 moving average dipped below the 100 moving average here on the 4 hour. Initially, Cardano punched right through it like a boss, but it couldn't maintain, at least for now, so it's dropped back below. Now this 50 moving average might really provide some resistance. Actually, it was doing that before. So we might have run out of steam on Cardano's recent rally, even with the news. Looking at the 1 hour, looks like we're going back down to retest the 50-hour moving average. It has provided support for most of the day. We'll see if it can still provide support right now. If it falls through that, we've got the 100-hour moving average looking like it's coming in around, about 4.36 cents. I would say we're probably not going to go lower than that, even if we do have a bit of a tumble. And if we do show some strength, we might be able to go back up and retest around the 4.63-ish level. We'll see if we can do better than that, but right now I wouldn't hope for too much more. Like I said, we were kind of overextended on the RSI, so this is probably a return to a more rational price range, but the next few hours will be pretty telling. All right, here we're looking at Binance Coin. Now, Binance Coin itself doesn't have any real news I know of, but Binance did just open a new exchange, the Jersey Exchange. And arguably, whatever's good for Binance is good for the coin, though you wouldn't really see that reflected in the price action right now. We're up about 2%, not too shabby. Got a market cap of about 785 million, and we're a little over $6. You can see we held nicely on the 50-day, like a lot of coins are doing right now. But let's get a little bit more information and go to the 4 hour. All right, so not unlike Cardano, you can see we recently had this crossover of the 50 and 100 4-hour moving averages. Now the difference is that with Binance Coin here, we got specifically rejected off of the 100-hour moving average, and we took it kind of hard. However, all is not lost. One, there has not been as much traditional resistance coming off of this 50 4-hour moving average, which gives me some hope it'll be easier to get back above it. Furthermore, the sell volume's not that high, so there's a lot of hope that this is kind of a temporary dip, and it will be relatively easy for us to go back up and retest up to these levels. Let's go to the 1 hour for a little bit more on that. So yeah, we just tested off of the 50-hour moving average. We held, which is a very bullish sign. Worst case scenario, we do fall back down. We also have the 100-hour moving average providing support here at just about $6 psychological. So I don't see it dropping below that without some catalyst. If we get the strength, again, the buy volume's been pretty decent. If we get the strength to go back up and retest, we could hit up again to about $6.25. So it's basically my prediction. Worst case scenario, we go back down to about 6. Best case scenario, we retest up to 6.25. All right, I just want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin dominance now, where it has been historically, where it's at now, and where it's going. Here we have the chart that is basically the market dominance for all of crypto's history, just about. And not surprisingly, you can see Bitcoin has been dominating for most of the history until about 2 years ago. We started to have the bull run. Now, when that happened, people got really excited. And we started to see any project that had any semblance of merit started to see a lot of money going into it, which of course caused the dominance of Bitcoin to drop significantly in that time. And that carried on for a while, but then we, of course, inevitably had the crash. And when that happened, people got scared. Started to pull their money out of projects, started to put it back in what they consider to be the safest crypto, Bitcoin. It has the longest history, has the most stability compared to all the alts that have popped up. And so now we're in the midst of this crypto winter, this big bear run, and that's shaking out a lot of projects. Not here to name names or pick on anybody, just we all know there's some projects that are more solid than others. And a lot of the worst ones are getting kind of shaken out of the market. So Bitcoin is regained a good amount of its dominance, over 50%, and has been holding there roughly for about 6 months. Even the other alts have largely found levels that they're kind of holding on. So what we're probably going to see in the coming months, and so as long as this bear market continues about where it is, these levels will probably kind of continue where they are. I think when the next bull rally comes, we're going to see kind of a repeat of history. We're going to see Bitcoin's dominance dip. We're going to see a lot more of that money start to flow back into alts. But what's going to happen, there will be, relatively speaking, fewer alts. The ones that are trusted will be more trusted. And so the gains those altcoins make will probably be held better when the next inevitable crash comes. I'm not going to speculate what coins and at what levels, but just I will broadly say that I think Bitcoin will lose some of its dominance again, and when the next crash comes, it won't gain as much back. The alts that have survived, that continue to survive, will find levels that they will be able to hold this time much better. And that after the next market cycle, we'll see more rational levels of dominance in the market, whereas they won't be as volatile and they won't change as much from day to day, week to week, so on. All right, that should about do it for us today. As always, this is not investment advice. This is just my opinion. Go do your own research, make your own decisions. Until next time, I am David. Don't forget that like and subscribe. Good luck with your trades.